All right. Tonight we are focusing heroes, and we are drawing an image of Elon Musk to bring in some of that visionary energy. And as you know, no one is a hero. Like, hero was a separate species that puts you in a different class of what you should be judged for. Every single person is a human being, and it makes every heroic action that they do all the more greater. Everyone is flawed and incomplete, and it's only through coming together that we awaken our collective potential and our individual potential. And, to learn one thing, even have a lifetime of experience, means that there's other lifetimes of experience that you haven't had. There's things to which you are ignorant. No matter who you are, right? I find it in myself all the time. And sometimes you find examples of people where you're like, oh my God, how have they sustained such a good freaking, like, not that ignorant? When you find people, when I think about how many things I do not know, when I see someone who knows so many things, I'm amazed. And to find ways to communicate with and move through the world, ways to shape the world around you and to positively affect it, that's like the greatest thing ever. And to create the new, that's incredible. That's what we need. That is the first and always will be the base step in creating the future and changing the world. We got to create the new, and it takes courage, and it takes adaptability. It takes willingness to fail and get back up again when you do, endlessly. So you got to take care of yourself. You got to have audacity, a kind of boldness that makes you a superhero in my book. And that's something, of course, I strive towards and work towards. And when there's someone like any of your heroes, like Amma, like Dua Lipa for style, or like Elon Musk, who's already walked the path and at times run the gauntlet of showing what is possible and not backing down when the universe seems to suggest impossibility until it's proven for a scientific fact, in which case you can hit breakthroughs that no one would have guessed or expected. And yes, you can do those things because you've had the example of people that have ran that 4-minute mile and have made the impossible possible. And every time you consider in your mind, like, everything you know, so is this doable? And you think of examples of other people that you have known, seen, or heard of doing things you want to do. And some of those motivational speeches, man, they come in handy and they come in hard. The combination of Elon Musk speeches has been fantastic and captured more than any of the other motivational speeches the visionary mindset that we create the new. You don't have to just accept the world as it is, but first, to get there, you must accept the world exactly as it is. You work from a completely realistic worldview of the present. You work towards anything that you can dream and to feasibly call into existence in your mind, and something that you feel would be preferable to do so. Is there a reason to change the world? How can we do that? Even in taking wild bets and still having so much confidence in them, of thinking the, SpaceX, even Tesla was an unlikely bet at times, but it was worth it. That's just such a good example. People tend to play it safe, Like, if you had a chance for 10 times returns, but 4 out of 5 times it would fail. The notorious example would be to always go for the guaranteed profits. But if you had a fallback and you could control your emotions enough not to get your integrity and your self-worth involved in the equation, it's 200% better to go for the risk every time and it would likely go through 2 out of 10 times at 10 times value. Massive. I don't know much about advanced statistics, but I know about keeping a space for a wild card potential, and in reading things like The Black Swan, Nicholas Taleb Nassim, to hold a space for innovative wildcard solutions that maybe no one has thought of. And because there hasn't been an example of the implementation of the solution, it's staring people in the face. So to double back in that way and to keep an eye for that black swan, everything is impossible until it's proven possible, in which case it was always possible. And history changes to be reflective of that, right? So never let anyone tell you what is and what isn't possible, but figure it out. Science and physics will tell you what is and isn't possible, And science and physics is a beast that's always evolving. There were pieces of it, like microbiology. Like microbiology is a piece of science and physics that was there the whole time. But if you said it was there, people would have told you you were crazy because we didn't have the microscopes to detect that huge aspect of the world around us. Surely there's things like that we don't know and understand even now. Like different dimensions of consciousness or energy, like near-death experiences. Certainly there's something wild going on there. Like what the hell kind of other life and courses of evolution could have taken place somewhere in the star system? Who knows? But even just like, we see sometimes a heroic potential for collaboration, where in crisis situations, people will help others, even at risk of themselves. I do tend to try to think of the name of the Christopher Nolan movie that has the soldiers in World War II. The reason I think of that is because it gives example of 3 stories of heroic courage from completely different places of readiness, of exhaustion, of training. And people can rise to that potential out of choice. When you could choose to act entirely selfishly, or the universe will throw down, like you could choose to help someone. It's not an externally motivating factor. Certainly there are extrinsically motivating factors in that. But then at the ground level, it's like a wish. It's like a promise, like who can hold on when all of the, evidence would suggest letting go, and what that means to you. Examples towards heroism, where most often people think you can't help everyone, so you have to draw lines around you have to draw a circle around your people, those who you choose to value, empathize with, and protect. And there's some systems that encourage like global collaboration and like creating solutions for all of humanity and prioritizing that. But then you still have your borders, and within those borders are networks of smaller borders around your team, your family, your friends, the people that you're closest with. Who can you actively help and who do you touch? And where do you turn off your empathy for the world? Because there's always dying children, and we need to have a space that is free of crisis to be able to relax and sustain and regain energy. And we need to have a playful space to be able to dream in order to celebrate the quality of life that so many amazing heroes have worked towards for so many years. To celebrate everything that is good in the world is a huge step towards elevating, expanding, and creating more good. I remember messaging the Elon Musk team back in the day and saying that they made life like Minecraft. That it became a space where you could build things. You could change the landscape around you. I didn't mean just digging up areas for parks and expansion, but You could change things. You could interact and interface directly with the world around you. You could create a landscape all your own. You could take a vision in your mind and step by step by step actualize that vision until it was the shape of the reality around you. We are creators. We should listen to some Dua Lipa. You can't just sit here listening to... I do like Minecraft, though. Minecraft's brilliant, a brilliant execution of something incredibly simple that plays itself out and expresses itself in endlessly complicated ways. Okay, we'll try to move quick, but not too quick. So thinking about making solutions for the world and keeping good examples of that and figuring out what really is and isn't possible. People have all kinds of ideas, but fact check the ground level with what can and cannot be done. Again, yes, science and physics will dictate what is or isn't possible, but also look at examples of ways that people's hearts can change, examples of transformation. If you're like, these people will not vote for this change, but there's a positive ripple effect going on all the time. People are constantly changing. Sometimes they change a lot very quickly. So how do we create examples of positive change in communities, in individuals, over time, and as quickly as possible? Education is a great way to give people an aspect of positive change. Not only is through the process of education, you're writing new neural networks, you are learning new things that you expect and hope are going to change your worldview and change yourself. So it's a good place to, put in a word for voting for and helping to create the best world possible. Education in how to do that and making it accessible, making it trendy, getting people finding their unique learning style, that works for them. Diverse intelligence, specific intelligence, and general intelligence. To invest in a well-educated populace is the best way to get that populace to vote on things that the world needs and things that they need personally, to have a wider scale viewpoint that can articulate and deconstruct information as it's coming in effectively. So how do we get people as educated as possible? The best courses, for sure. Courses both, general and specific, and courses that can be, if you want to have different levels of understanding in a given subject that will scale towards your interest and how applicable the information is going to be towards you, to have really good crash courses and really good in-depth courses that go as deep as you'd want on any area of expertise, and peer and mentor reviewed, like a social media network of figuring out if people are actually doing the work, and if they aren't, if it isn't sinking in, to have the tutoring and mentorship to figure out if it's not for them or if there's a different learning style, something that they could do so that they are getting it, so that we don't pass out empty reviews of people who seem to have taken a course, but verify consistently whether they are engaging with it. And to encourage through this approach, like people doing it their own way, in not only learning what other people have figured out, but trying to figure stuff out for themselves. It could be something small, but to encourage critical thinking and active problem solving when and wherever possible. Elon Musk guys were another people. That's what he said they prioritized in their school. And I could exactly see why. Like, we want not people who are going to retain and express already learned truths, but people that can learn all this information and then, find ways to find the right piece of information, the right key to every lock in situations in front of them, and to use it effectively, put things together, summarize things, to make the information that they're learning not static, but active. Make it alive with meaning and purpose, and give people the confidence to do things in their own way, to think of themselves as an innovator. You might not have innovated on anything yet, but that's who we are by design. Too many folks think innovators and innovation is something incredibly specified. Only very special people do. And while they can memorize endlessly complex amounts of information, when it comes to actually putting their voice behind something and trying to, they think it's a specified field. And I want to argue that it is not, even if you have something small to contribute, like local solution orientation in a community that it'll be you finding out how to use that perfected blueprint on the ground level with the people and the resources that you have in your community to make it as effective as possible. And that could multiply the effectiveness. Having good people on the ground level that know the people around them and the specificity of the problems they face, of the solutions they hope to implement. Thought this was ROCKETMAN. We might have to listen to ROCKETMAN. I know this is Dua Lipa and Elton John. I think we have to. Okay. There we go. Cool. Okay. Okay. Eyebrows perhaps lowered a bit. Okay, we must. Let's go. Perfect. Gonna try and move to the most effective area at any given time.
Lonely out in space. On such a timeless flight. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find.
inquisitiveness. Something to celebrate.
In fact, it's cold as hell.
A world-class inquisitiveness.
And there's no one there to raise them if we did. And all this science, I don't understand. It's just a job 5 days a week. A rocket man.
To be in the fields of innovation, launching out into the unknown, takes so much courage, determination to do what's wrong until you find out the way to do what's right, of changing your strategy effectively. And that way you change the mold, rewriting the book on what's possible. Making it more sophisticated and complete even. Correcting the book. Awesome. All right. We'll move forwards. We'll move forwards as quick as we can. Try to activate this energy, take our projects to good places, continue working on the course in arts and design. Arts, design, storytelling. Get our confidence up. Reach out and, touch the team with Elon Musk. Share dreams and visions of the future, and what it's meant. They've got a network of people at the ground level that funnel useful information up, That's the way to do it. So there's not really a chance at failure so much as learning through trial and error. So we can ask about the plausibility of building mechs within our lifetime and what they could be used for in a world perhaps seeing global conflict reduction and global pacifism with these massive budgets for defense and these facilities. The facilities for space and automotive, though. Yeah, how you'd make mechas. I mean, I think we could make our own mechas better than government-funded mechas any day. Anyway, this is one of the best illustrations we've done. And capturing the energy, the fearlessness, anything is possible. Yeah, that really came together. Love to put together more series. We're blocking in foundational design, which is where I'd go if I'm trying to learn any kind of arts, because even portraiture in that way becomes an element of foundational design. And knowing how to shade in shapes in space, at least going through the basics of foundational design before you get into in-depth portraiture, where you're, using the very specific and complex shape of the face.
All the pictures seem to fade to black and white. I'm growing tired, and time stands still before me. Frozen here on the ladder of my life.
Too late to save yourself from falling.
All right. We'll leave it here. Do cat care. I can hear him calling. Shout out my cerebellar hypoplasia kitty, my wobbly cat Sanji. Beautiful man. Shout out Elon Musk. Beautiful man.
My meaning when I met you. Close the door and left me blinded by the light.
And together we'll work on making the future a little bit more awesome every day in the situations that you're in, while you vote on the most awesome world you can imagine, and to educate yourself and inform yourself on ways that the world is changing, can be changed, who are people that are actively investing in creating world change for good, and what can you do in your own life. There we go. And we'll leave it at that.
What do I gotta do to make
I'm sending you my love and light.